I'm not typically a violent person. I kicked him and it ended up being in the head. I only struck one time. I've never pulled a knife on anybody in my whole life, and that's the honest to God truth. I think what he was taken back by, just the physical look that I have with the tattoos and stuff. Felt like I had to kind of protect my sister's honor. If I could take it back, I would. Uh, I don't gangbang. I don't do none of that stuff. Was intoxicated on jailhouse wine. I just can't do this no more. I hate to be a blubbering idiot here, but I'm just done. I just want to be a regular guy doing regular things. Now we're looking at a lot of tattoo removal, and we're looking at,
Well, the tattoo removal, if released, I think that's probably a good idea. Now, he's got a long track record and he is facing a lot of time. His full term date is 2032. So he's got a lot riding on this parole hearing. I'll unpack it with the details that I have.
uh, you know, I mean, there's yeah, there's a few things that I would
Okay.
like to say. There's I kind of came in here with kind of an idea of the appropriate things to say, and I just want to start off real quick. I kind of found it ironic. Guys ask me, what are you gonna say to the board when you talk to them, and
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, the truth. That the truth is probably the best thing to say, and ultimately, this is my life we're talking about, and I've come to a point to where I realize that I'm 46 now. I'm almost 47, and I have been in and out of this prison since 19 years old. And the same thing has happened time in and time again. And the only way anything's going to change is if the change comes from within. And I can assure you that that change has been made. The whole reason why the Department of Corrections is set out, and then we have prisons and stuff like this, is to hopefully rectify the situation. And I know without a doubt that I will never step into another jail cell or being incarcerated, and I know that I have to be part of the solution. Uh, that's the only way this is going to work, and I feel like I have the ability to go out and actually do some good, and that's my hopes and desires to actually do. Uh, I have some plans out there. Unfortunately, just a few months back, my father just passed away. Um, my sister is left with his businesses and stuff like that out in Colorado Springs, and this has been just an awakening for me. It's just one more thing that I was hoping I would have had time to spend with him, and he was fairly young. I still have family here in Utah. uh, we were under the impression that I was going to be out in April, this coming up 2025. And yesterday I called home and I said, well, I might be here a little bit longer now. It just depends on what the board decides to do, and they told me that they're going to be there no matter what, uh, and that's really something that's that I don't take for granted. They wouldn't be here if the change hasn't been made. Now we're looking at a lot of tattoo removal, and we're looking at some different things.
Yeah.
And I did also want to point out, um, there are, because you asked me if there were any inconsistencies or anything, that in that there are a couple. There
Yeah.
there are a couple, but I don't want to take out of the sight that I did commit the offense back when I was in Max. I was on a safety override because I don't gangbang. I don't do none of that stuff, and fell out of favor with them, which is completely fine in my eyes. Um, However, there was an individual, and I want to first kind of point out that that situation back there at the time that I was there was pretty hostile. We had one individual that this offense happened where I hit him. Uh, he threatened a couple of things. He first threatened not just my sister, but other people across the way that were in the other part of the section, that he was gonna molest their sister, and just made some really, really off the cuff comments. And unfortunately, that's probably something that he should not have done. I'm not typically a violent person. I mean, you can look through my institution. I've got really zero institutional violence. I really would have loved to have just left this whole thing alone. He also said that he was going to stab me. So I took that a little bit more serious. And in the report, here's where the inconsistencies come in. And you guys will be able, my hopes is that you guys will see this for exactly for what it is. So in the report, it says that I came up and I aided the other guy, Jones, I believe his name was, and fighting the other individual. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Do you mind if I give you my summary and then you can? So,
Absolutely.
and I was planning on doing this. Actually, you've kind of answered some of the questions I had, so I've taken notes and we can skip those when they get there. But so case 2319-07477, April 23. It said a co-defendant attacked the victim inside the facility. It said the co-defendant hit, kicked, and stomped the victim several times. It said at one point you ran over and tried to help the co-defendant drag the victim into a cell. It said the victim, quote, was able to fight this off. And then it said you kicked the victim in the head at that time and then went and racked into your cell. Is that accurate?
No.
No? Okay. So what's your statement on that?
So what I did is I ran up the stairs, went over, and these guys had started fighting beforehand. Just right before that, I grabbed him by the shirt and I yelled at him for the obscenity that he said towards the sister thing. And then I dropped him, pushed the other guy into the house, the other guy that was fighting with him. So, and you guys will be able to see this because it's all on camera. It's readily accessible to be able to see it. I'm hoping that you will see it. And after I pushed him in towards the house, I kicked him and it ended up being in the head.
That was the victim or the co-defendant?
The victim.
The victim.
Yeah, the victim. The co-defendant, I never had any, we never were together on anything. I shoved him out of the way because he had no part in whatever I had going on with the other guy. There was no coercion between the two of us. I had, I feel unfortunate the whole situation happened. I felt like I had to kind of protect my sister's honor, but the thing that kind of got me was that he threatened to stab me. Now I want to also note that I have actually talked with some of the officers that that some of them are actually friends of mine. I'm not going to point out any names or anything, but they told me that when they came in, they found a knife on the victim and on the other guy. So, that heightens the reality when going up against, a couple of guys, and here's one thing I also want to know, I only struck one time.
It was
Okay?
the kick.
The kick. That was it. There was never a punch. There was never nothing. I don't know why
I'll go on record that that's my understanding. So that's my understanding of the case, the official version. So just wanted to say that.
I really appreciate that because so when I went to court, I was getting my public defender was not hearing anything I had to say. Prosecuting attorney, because of my record, wasn't interested in anything I had to say. And and I get that. I mean, I understand that. After a while, people are not probably wanting to hear what somebody's got to say. The reality is the truth is what it is, and I accept the truth for what it is. I feel very ashamed that situation even took place. If I could take it back, I would. The whole defending my sister's honor, all that stuff. This guy doesn't know my sister. My sister's never been in trouble. She's never done a day in jail. He's just making comments off the cuff because he was intoxicated on jailhouse wine. And when I confronted him before the doors opened, that was when the whole threatening to stab, all that kind of thing. And I was like, I've seen some pretty bad things back there. I'm no longer back in Max. I've been out of Max for quite some time. I've been trying to get a job. It's really, really hard to. I get along really well with the staff back there. They're always trying to help me to find something to do. I just volunteer.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Do you mind? And sorry to cut you off. I want to give you all the opportunity to speak. Do you mind if I go through some procedural things?
Sure.
And then I've got a couple questions for you. You've really touched on a lot of that. And then at the end of the hearing, I'll turn it back to you. Is that okay if we do that?
Absolutely.
Quickly, I just wanted to note, so today we sent a separate guideline calculation and hearing worksheet. You had a chance to review that?
I did.
What happened there? So the board did a smart scheduling, looks like back in 2023, based solely on the 2022 cases.
Yeah.
They set this hearing with that guideline in mind. I think it was at April 22nd, 2025. After smart scheduling and that initial hearing worksheet was done, this aggravated assault case that you've talked about occurred, and you received a sentence, 0 to 5 years. I think it was entered consecutively to the other cases. As of this week, a new guideline hadn't been calculated, including that.
Yeah.
So this new guideline includes that separate conviction.
Okay.
It adds about 2.5 years to the guideline based on that case. Board rules, our managing case analyst did the calculations. I'm going to just make sure everything's correct after today's hearing, but that's what that's explaining. If you'd like to, we can postpone today's hearing for you to have further time to review and prepare to respond to that document. If you're willing to waive disclosure, we can continue today. How would you like to respond? How would you like to proceed?
I'd like to waive that. I think you're on track with this. I think you get where I'm coming from, and I'll explain a little bit more on like a remedy, a plan for the future. So
yeah, and then just to go through the basics of everything. Commitment offenses are 2 counts of theft by receiving stolen property, felony 3, failure to stop or respond to the command of police, felony 3, unlawful possession, purchase, transfer, dangerous weapon, misdemeanor A, and then the aggravated assault. You're serving an aggregate sentence of between 0 and 15 years. I think 2 of the 0 to 5s were consecutive. I think there's maximum 0 to 5s, but 2 of them are consecutive. As of now, that will expire on May 19th, 2037. Your guideline is 67 months, which would lead to you being released on December 22nd, 2027. Obviously, the board's not bound by that. They can release you before that date, after that date, and they'll consider your case as a whole in making that decision. I do note in January 23 at Smart Scheduling, the board said they wanted you to complete substance use treatment as evaluated to be appropriate and cognitive behavioral therapy. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Yeah. So as far as the cases, so there's 4, we've already talked about the aggravated assault case 231907477. The 2022 cases, have you read the summaries and the pre-sentence reports for those cases? Are those summaries accurate as to what happened?
on the other cases,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for the most part, other than the one case, I think it's the Class A misdemeanor. I'm not sure what they charged it as. So a tow truck driver,
The dangerous, unlawful possession,
Yeah,
purchase, transfer of a dangerous weapon.
that I believe that's it.
The 2022, an individual attempted to repossess your vehicle.
Yeah.
Said you brandished a knife. Is that what happened in this?
No, I never brandished a knife. I've never pulled a knife on anybody in my whole life, and that's the honest to God truth. I think my history would support that. I don't know why this guy said what he said. So the gentleman was a black gentleman. I think what he was taken back by, just the physical look that I have with the tattoos and stuff. He became kind of confrontational with me. I told him, I says, look, just let me get my things out of my vehicle and you can go ahead and take the car. And he started making some weird comments. And I guess he was trying to say that I insinuated that I was a cop. Well, I'm obviously not a cop. So I don't know what he's talking about. But um, nonetheless, I grabbed my things out of the vehicle, set them down, and I went inside the house. I noticed the cops showed up, and I went back out after they had left, and all my stuff that I had set out on the side was gone. Now, according to the report, they found a knife
Yeah.
in the stuff that was there. Now, here's the thing. Let me just say this. I'm just so if I brandished a knife on him, so what did I do? Did I brandish a knife and then set my stuff down, or did I take? If I brandished a knife, the knife would be in my possession. It would be on me, right? So uh, why would I leave the knife there with the other stuff? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
My understanding, you deny that you had a knife at all at that time?
Yeah, I mean, there was a box of stuff from one of the guys that was the house manager. So I went and grabbed some of the stuff that was in the sober living house.
This was a sober living. You were at what sober living were you
I
at?
was in More Roads to Recovery,
Okay.
and I grabbed some stuff out of there, and I ended up getting one of his boxes. And he's a friend of mine, and it was just a regular typical knife. I didn't even know I had it in there until like later after the fact. But
So it was,
that
your
knife
statement is it somebody else's box of property that you had
that's
mistakenly
that,
taken?
that's actually the truth, because I went in and I grabbed a couple of bags out of the garage where my stuff was at, and I had actually ended up grabbing one of my buddy Chris's boxes. That's where that was in. So I'm just thinking that maybe the cops showed up and they asked him, well, what's up with this knife thing? And he's like, well, whatever he decided to say, and I know these tow truck drivers, they probably, I mean, I watch the shows on TV like Lizard Lick and South Beach Tow and stuff. And I mean, they're dramatized and stuff, but I mean, you get a lot of confrontational type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so he's probably used to dealing with that. And I guess he's from a big city, from San Francisco. I don't know why he chose to make those comments, but
Okay.
my hand to God, they are untrue.
So I'll note your comments regarding that case. I think I have a pretty good understanding of your statement today. I'll put those into my report so the board will be aware of them. I do want to, so it looks like you terminated your fourth commitment September 21. The first case, I think it was you were driving a car, fled from a traffic stop during that car, was about a month later. And then, these other cases occurred over the next number of months. I wanted to check in first, though. What was your plan? I mean, I think in your most recent hearing, you said you were wanting to go to Colorado
Yeah.
to live with family. Did you not make that, or what went wrong with the plan last time?
So the plan was a good plan, and this was by far my biggest mistake that I feel I've made in my life. Is my poor dad had plans for me to go out there to go stay with him. You know, I got cold feet at the last second. I actually sat in my truck up there at Little Cottonwood, and I was debating. I even went up, into the canyon a little bit, which is not the right way. You're supposed to go south, out through Price, out through Dinosaur, to get out to Colorado into Grand Junction. You know, I ended up. My cousin John came and picked me up, and I thought I had a pretty good, strong disposition. And he had talked to me. I'm just going to be honest here. I mean, there's no reason to he asked me if I could score him some stuff, and or if I would buy him some stuff. He would score it. I did. He I don't understand. He was always a good cousin back in the day. I mean, he went to BYU for like 7 years. I don't. It's just weird to me that he even does drugs, but I helped him do that. And I don't even do heroin, but I smoked a couple hits with him. And you know what? I felt so ashamed of myself at that point. And I ended up relapsing just right after that. Matter of fact, later that day, and about a month month after the fact is when all this happened. And, you know, my dad's dead now. I didn't get the chance to go out there and spend that time with him. And I feel like my dad lost, he just got really, really, really depressed. And he wasn't like a really big drinker. He did drink occasionally, but I think he drank himself to death after the fact that I didn't go up there. I think he personalized this. And you know, it's going to be a hard one to forgive, but the fact of the matter is I'm trying to get actually possibly back out to Colorado. My dad left us a house.
So let's see, maybe while we're on that, so want to go to Colorado
Yeah,
is maybe your plan. So interstate compact if you're granted parole.
possibly. Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts you have about your release plan? I didn't get a board packet, so address, release
Yeah.
plan, anything you'd like the board to know about
Well,
that?
here's my plan. So I'm asking the board to allow me to go to Odyssey House as a treatment plan. I can't go to the program here. I was actually in the program. They kicked three
Okay, so
guys.
that was my next question. Sorry, let me just, if you don't mind
You're fine.
organizing
Yeah,
here.
you're
So
fine.
you were in the RSAT program just a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and then MRT, so what happened?
So they kicked three guys out. I'm actually housed with the one guy. They filled our beds with people coming in, and they said we will bring you back. You'll be back here in a couple of days, a week tops, and it's been a couple 2-3 months now. It's been 3 months since then. I was all set due to go back. However, a guy that is one of the heavies for one of the gangs I used to belong to. I have a safety clause on him. I don't want to be around the guy. He's a dangerous individual. So really my going back to that program, I tried doing all this on my own. It took 2 years. Well, 2 years. I've tried to get into that program for 2 years, writing all the time, trying to get in there. I was able to do the MRT. I did the cognitive thinking and thinking for a change.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, thinking for a change is yeah, so you completed that one. What did you
Yes.
learn in that one?
But I learned, you know what? I actually, I mean, aside from the class, I mean, the gentleman that teach that class, I learned a lot. I didn't realize how much that these officers actually genuinely care for some of us. And it was the one guy, he ended up almost having a near death experience, was hospitalized, and he would send us video, letting us know everything was going to be good. And you know it was touching.
Okay. So if I'm understanding correctly, you were in the RSAT, removed at this time, that safety issue is preventing placement back into MRT and RSAT. You've had some disciplinaries. The April one was the new case we already talked about. In 2023, you had 2 for tattooing, 1 for a lost charger or cord, and then 1 for passing unknown items. Are those reports all accurate as to what happened? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the tattoo stuff, I mean, it was in my house. I mean, I take responsibility,
Okay. You haven't had a write-up for about 10 months. Institutional progress report says you've worked as a unit worker with a good rating for, looks like about 9 months, then an ADA helper as well. Housing staff currently provides a positive report. What's helped you for the last 10 months avoiding the write-ups? Because you had right out the gate. What's helped over the last 10 months?
you know, I've changed. It's, it comes down to, my dad dying. I just can't do this no more. I hate to be a blubbering idiot here, but I'm just done. I just want to be a regular guy doing regular things.
Okay. Um, And just quickly, we're out of time, but do want to, no rush to get through things, want your input. As far as mental health, do you have any past diagnoses? Like childhood ADHD, I think is what I've read about. Any other diagnoses you're aware of?
I've been diagnosed a couple things back in the day. I mean, it was kind of a popular thing. I would say that I'm pretty sound.
No you're not taking any medications or doing treatment. How'd you say your mental health is right now?
I'd say very good. I'd say good. I mean, I'm sad, with my dad and everything, but, I've got a lot of responsibilities and I just can't, I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around being here another 3 years, possibly. Here's, here's the thing I'm thinking, I don't know what you guys are going to do. I mean, I don't have that control, but I do have the control to, make good choices and make better choices from here on out. So they got a new halfway house in Orem, Utah. It's in Orem, I have a substantial support system. I have a couple of aunts and uncles that live right there in Orem,
Mhm.
and I have a sister lives in Saratoga Springs and a little sister that lives in Provo. Um, I know a little bit of the sober community down there. I would like to possibly entertain the idea of going to the Orem halfway house. I know they have a substance abuse program there. Uh, I mean, going to Colorado right off the cuff is probably something I'm going to have to take on when I get out there and get in a situation where I can constitute doing that. I still have a lot of ties here. As part of the reason I had a hard time leaving, but irregardless, I can't. The people that I have here will not put up with any type of drug use. They don't do it, and I respect that. I don't do it anymore. So I think it's going to be a whole different ball game. I mean, it's going to be way different. Like everything feels different. It just does. Like I can almost guarantee you, like I'll never be back in the system. I'm going to be that guy that's going to be part of the remedy, part of the solution, and I'm going to do some good out there. And that's going to be a big part of my life. And I've got some good resources. I think the future is bright when it comes to that. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments today. I've covered everything that I wanted to with what you stated, and then the questions I've asked to contribute with that. What I'm going to do from here is take your case under advisement. I've put together a report of what I reviewed prior to today. I'll include what we've talked about today into that report, and then I'll submit that to the members of the board, hopefully by tomorrow. Usually, so it takes a majority vote, 3 out of 5, as you know, to make a decision. That usually takes between 2 to 4 weeks, but sometimes it's quicker than that. Sometimes it does take a bit longer than that.
Yeah.
We'll send it to you through the mail in writing, and it will also be posted to the board's website. So that's how I'll proceed. With that, Mr. Bierman, thank you for being here and discussing these things with me. I wish you the best of luck moving forward. We'll go ahead and conclude.
Thank you.
Okay, so they actually responded rather quickly with their decision. Sometimes it does take a month, but in this case, it took them just 2 days, and their answer was no parole. He can come back for a rehearing for 2027. So he's not going to be happy with hearing that. Now his full term date is 2032, and he's got, in his jacket a whole bunch of charges. Just for this specific offense, including the aggravated assault, which gets them all the way to 2037, actually, 0 to 5 years. But they're running, so it's, his EOS is 2032, but he's in the white, which means he's in the medical ward. I don't know if that has what bearing that has on this and his capacity. Look, I wish I could share really more with you in depth. I do have, I guess, what Richard has are the lists of his records, and it goes back all the way to, let's see, 2015. So he has an arrest. Maybe I could do a screen share so you can see this, and also to put into perspective, he's no young chicken. It's not like when you're listening to him, it almost sounds like you're listening to a kid. He's 46 years old. And it's like at a certain point, it's just got to stop. He's even talking about he's in prison. He knows he's coming up for a parole hearing. And I think he picked up a new charge. It wasn't just a write up for that assault. And it's all, and he's saying, well, I have to protect the honor of my sister. It's like, come on, grow up, man. You're in prison. You don't need to protect the honor of what some guy says about your sister. It's just such a childish thing from my perspective. But, here's just the different arrests. And this is only, I guess, in the state of Utah. So I'm sure it goes back more than this. But you can see here 2/27, 2015, 3/24, 2015, 5/16, 2016, 6/24, 16, 12/26, 16, 2/18, 17, 6/20, 1/8/20, 3. It just goes on and on and on. 3/25, 21. 11/14, 21, 1/21, 22, 2/11, 22, 6/20, 22. Finally, they said enough is enough. And, he has, what are you supposed to do? I mean, frankly, what are you supposed to do in these situations? So they're going to let him get a rehearing. Maybe he can take some programs. I don't know. As you can see from those, from that ink, he probably was a part of some type of supremacist gang, if he's claiming he's not involved in it anymore, but certainly seems that he once was, and that's pretty big in Utah. But man, he looks like a big man. He looks like he can cause some hurt. And what can you do? I mean, just look at that arrest record. It's crazy. And he was just locked up for this in 6/20/2022. So there you have it. And we'll keep tabs on these hearings as they come up. Make sure to subscribe, help the channel reach 100,000 subscribers. If you want to see more of these type of hearings in Utah, make sure you click that playlist for the Utah playlist button below. And with that, I'll let you go.
I'm not typically a violent person. I kicked him and it ended up being in the head. I only struck one time. I've never pulled a knife on anybody in my whole life. And that's the honest to God truth. I think what he was taken back by, just the physical look that I have with the tattoos and stuff. Felt like I had to kind of protect my sister's honor. If I could take it back, I would. I don't gangbang. I don't do none of that stuff. Was intoxicated on jailhouse wine. I just can't do this no more. I hate to be a blubbering idiot here, but I'm just done. I just want to be a regular guy doing regular things. Now we're looking at a lot of tattoo removal and we're looking at,